threads and knots, gentle undoings, and at home with me, myself, and I. Quote, the model we choose to use to understand something determines what we find. Iain McGilchrist, The Master and His Emissary, The Divided Brain and the Making of the Western World. Quote, be a spectator with a large ear. Tilburg Margarita, Be a Spectator with a Large Ear, Matthew Sheen, Music, Victory Over the Sun, the libretto, 1932. There's an image, Taoist image, the pace of you. I remember sat home my Taoist shīfu while I was still his disciple, telling me once, it is not about what they tell you or what you hear. It is about how you relate to it. Proving that relational values are what makes the Maya, the illusion of all that is, the experience, as one synthesizes individually. These aspects operate magnetically, generating a duality, yet its perception is in the now, in the lens, the ego, ego, the self-identity, how one identifies with the psyche, the soul. The experience is the third way. The Taoist integration of yin and yang through their trinity of Tian, Ren, and Di, heaven, man, and earth, this is the trigram. A trinity is a seemingly universal model. Many Taoists see the stars as knots in the net of heaven, connecting everything in heaven and earth. Thus, humanity is here to experience this connection. Carl G. Jung made a whole practice of integrations via shadow work, anima animus, within these relational values, adding observations on astrological and Taoist practices, the I Ching, through its patients. Jung noticed synchronous casual events converging in coincidences as powerful and meaningful insights that emerge within these disconnected relationships. He coined the phenomena as synchronicity. Not too far away in time, David Bohm, in quantum mechanics, proposed interconnectedness and interdependence as the Buddha also implied in his middle way. Bohm's dialogos, to see through to meaning, is a deep practice that has part of its roots in ancient Greece. The emergence of a new state while practicing deep listening allows a new experience in the becoming. It is about deep inquiry and learning, sharing new perspectives and social constructs, beliefs. The objective of a dialogue is shared meaning, not trying to influence, have power over an outcome. Hi everyone, how have you been? I'm laughing like a child while I ask. It's an image of the stars. I call it In Alignment. It's a drawing that I just made a couple of days ago. Alignment, the arrangement of a line to support a process, to position, to situate. It is the objective and relational. Sudden unexpected shocks can reposition placement, and then one cares to observe what is needed to fulfill an experience of prosperity. Abundance, overflow, to rise in a wave from a bound, undare, is a wave, and as such needs to be in convergence with the pulsation, thus calibrated, all established in relational values. These are my thoughts 2 days ago upon waking. The beat of my own drum, swinging my body sideways, finding the rhythm that feels like bliss. No pressure to create the best for others. The drum of external validation is very loud. Many confuse their uniqueness with what is expected to be done to succeed. Succeed at what? Being rich and famous? What does that even mean? Watch this. Slurp, slurp, interlink, yes, 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 ice cream, so good, interlink. Thank you, Lopez, interlink, gang, gang, interlink, slay, ha, 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 interlink, fire, 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 yes, 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 pop, pop, balloon, pop, pop. Well, this is insane. You got to look at what I wrote underneath. This is the new trend in TikTok. It's unbelievable. Okay, if you care about freedom, you know that relationship to the outside world is slavery in disguise of power. Power is another confusing term or idea. Power is energy. The energy to create. Human versus non-humans. The brain, cognition, perception. The mind running wild. The power to decide. Autonomy and agency. Or so we think we have pure authority. But do we? Good question. Quote, Anyone whose goal is something higher must expect someday to suffer vertigo. What is vertigo? Fear of falling? No. Vertigo is something other than fear of falling. It is the voice of the emptiness below us which tempts and lures us. It is the desire to fall against which, terrified, we defend ourselves. ᴛᴟ Kundera, The Unbearable Lightness of Being. That was one of my favorite books. I'm so sad that he passed, but he was kind of old. So may you be with the light, ᴛᴟ. There's an image here that I created a couple of days ago, and it says, the mirage of social media equals to everyone is an artist, a writer, a doctor, a guru, which translates as we are all full of shit. This is one of the last images I posted in my soon defunct Instagram feed. It triggered some folk. I am just accepting that we're all full of poop. Honestly, if one still has to hustle these days, that means one has not understood anything yet. The pettiness of others is my source of abundance. Words clash in high emotional states, and drastic decisions are made at the last degree of the lunar nodes. What am I still leaving behind, eh? Zero regrets, lots of courage. The time for social media relationship to end has reached the perfect moment. Cardinal initiation, ordinal proper, divergence, opposite directions, convergence, focus. The path is beautiful. My cross is the left side of alignment. I may be standing at the door sill, not showing anyone the way, but ushering whoever I encounter and has a commitment with themselves into a vibrational space where they might realign with the frequency that meets their needs. Have fun. Touch grass. Disconnect from the noise. Believe me, it is beautiful. I would like to thank my dear friend Ebony. She inspired me to disconnect from Instagram. What a joy! What a joy! The new direction focuses on the I am with a bit of tension that can and will catapult individuation. Home is where individual creativity shines, where plans are mastered through careful planning and the spirit infuses discernment of action. All habits in relationships that are meant to dissolve may temporarily reappear, only to reassure that the path of expression requires courage and knowing where leverage resides. If someone still tries to call you an egotist in order to manipulate your ways, make sure to pause and evaluate what emerges. It may well be that being yourself might trigger more people than normal. Cancer's new moon opposing Pluto at 29 degrees and squaring the lunar nodes that are shifting sign to 29 degrees of Aries Libra. The Sun moving into Leo joins Mercury and Venus, starts 43 days of retrograde in the same sign. Mars in Virgo opposes Saturn, retrograde in Pisces. The Sun trining Neptune and sextiles Uranus, Mercury squares Jupiter. The celestial landscape of the upcoming week. Changing trends, bearish or bullish. Learning to look at the frequency of a chart mirrors my state of how I am vibrating overall. Paper trading has become my latest observation. Validation praxis. The nodal axis shift. Me, myself, and I. What is my leverage? And how I negotiate my time, my value, and my resources in rapports. Emphasis on relational values and making sure the I am is sacred. An addiction cycle that was fulfilled last time at the end of 2004 when the nodes were at the same position as this week. I had just turned 40 and I had quit 2 packs of ciggies a day and giving up my daily weed consumption. I started a serious Taoist Buddhist practice of Tai Chi Chuan, TCM, nutrition, journaling, meditation, etc., which still permeates my daily living. This time around, the addictions are connected to apps, likes, and creating endless content for social media, leading to a slavery I'm not willing to partake anymore. All addictions and substances serve as a placeholder, an adaptation of a part of ourselves that needs connection, attention, practice, and willpower to bring the light on a self-nurturing holding space. I became aware of these constraints via my engagement, numbness, and association with these apps, but I could not find the willpower, and now at 0 degrees Taurus, the nodal axis will shift on July 22nd, and I'm letting go of any ideals, perceptions, and culture, social constructs that are no longer meaningful. I am embracing my individuality through curiosity and connection to immediate relations of people, situations, or things. The nodes fall on my ninth and third house axis. I am focusing on activities where I communicate my individuality through creative means. Venus will retrograde. I will write more about this in the coming weeks. In the sign of Leo, that falls on my seventh house. My natal Venus in Gemini falls in my fifth house of creativity. The repeating theme is an individual creative expression that calls for a brand new way to relate towards expectations and creating a deeper dialogue within, to be bold and express my singularity playfully and take my time to slow down and savor the taste of discovery of being a sovereign individual. The last time Venus went retrograde in Capricorn was December 2021. The nodes shifted on January 22nd, and I committed my time to create a meaningful practice with my resources, money, and studied digital money, also known as Bitcoin. I learned to read financial charts and ventured to understand the fiat money fiasco through Austrian economics. For those interested, in August, I'm starting 2 new study groups in English and in Spanish for novices on what Bitcoin is. Do inquire about the specifics. Shifting. Pluto squares the nodes this summer, and this is a skipped step. We will look at the South Node in Libra for the resolution and its ruler, Venus, placement in your chart. In the language of the commons, it means an uncomfortable feeling must be confronted by creating a balance or harmony in what is the right way to relate to your own individual desires and needs, and how are you going to negotiate with others. Having left behind attachments, there is much more clarity in what empty space emerges as a potential for evolving authentically. I won't have to dive deeper into what we're witnessing outside of ourselves, the governance, the craziness of the collective. Would you like that to end? Then transform your reality. Tune into your own singularity. The rest will vibrate at your tune. This week, the new territory. The chariot set a route to explore new lands. When everything is too familiar, I get itchy. I need to challenge my being. I ended up my 9-year-old relationship to Instagram. Big deal. I created over 16,000 posts through the years. Yeah. It will take some time to go through the material to archive or delete my digital footprint. Through time, I used it as a visual archive. Instagram was special to me because it was my drawing board, my testing ground. It led me a place to look at myself, to love my persona, and to despise what society had become. Slavery to the ID. This kind of identity is far from individuation. Mutations are here, and I'm so happy. Evolution depends on epigenetics. We are what we eat and what we think. If my environment is not sound, I am not safe. Cycles repeat in spiral motion. There have been very important shifts in my life when the lunar nodes have changed signs or when they have crossed cardinal angles. In February 2014, the lunar nodes were in the same axis but in the inverse direction. North node was in Libra and South node in Aries. I had a strange urge to change house and studio, and I did not care if my then ex-husband would come along. I went ahead and ended a commercial lease in Chinatown, New York. Something not very easy to do. I rented 3 separate locations for living, working, and storage, all within 24 hours. I announced we had 10 days to pack. Some resistance came from his side. How could I? It turned out to be the decision that triggered the events of our upcoming divorce. The freezing winter moving day came along, and after 15 hours with the movers, exhausted, we fell on the bed. The phone rang at 4 a.m. and it was Mr. Chan, my older landlord. Are we safe? What do you mean? Yes, why? At 3:50 a.m., the building had gotten a 3-alarm fire. It took nearly 3 hours and more than 100 firefighters to get the blaze under control. We had left the building at 9 p.m. with the last things to move to our new furnished sublet apartment a few blocks away. The storage and the studio had taken most of the day to accommodate. Destiny is a thing. When one listens to instincts and intuition, something happens as a protection. The fire started where my meditation room was located. I am never surprised or amazed, but really, really grateful. Back then, Venus had just ended its retrograde in Capricorn, and it confirmed I needed a different structure, and the nodes were leaving my Taurus Scorpio planets. Was I sharing my value with someone who was not really there for me? I had intuitively made a decision. I knew I'd rather be alone. From the end of July till early September 2015, what was happening in your life? Perhaps an echo this summer? As Venus will be retrograding again in the same area of your chart. For me, it was the beginning of a lot of confusion, and I was not really paying attention to the way I was relating to anything at all, or anyone. I had left my marriage at the end of 2014 and jumped into a new situation without taking the time to know who I was and what I needed as an adult woman. Venus retrograde was on my 7th house, and Chiron was about to make the third pass of a 51-year cycle. I was about to find out why Chiron's return in my 2nd house, ruled by Pisces, needed to relate to my own needs and create healthy boundaries. Jupiter was in Virgo, and it expanded that vulnerability massively. Down the road, all that pain led me to here, baby. Oh boy. So even in times of pain, even then, one can break free and become wholesome. The code is in the cycles. The numbers have a value. Depending on how numbers connect, how numbers, dimensions create proportions and relate to each other. How numbers are positioned, aligned in the whole universe. We're all stardust, and you are your own home. Compare yourself to nothing and live in the grace of love. Inquire, intention, and attention equals presence. Place 2 dots on a piece of paper. One is now, and the second is where your joy or whatever you fancy lies. Draw a third point that unites the first 2 nodes. This is how you will attend to that joy. Focus. Look at it and join the 3 outer corners with straight lines to the center. Then draw a perfect circle around that image. There are dimensions to everything you do. Just become aware of them and live in a state of presence. Intention plus attention equals presence. Nowhere to go, only a state of being. The circuitry, streams, and awareness in human geometry, also human design. Disciplines plus disciples. The circuitry is a complete synthesis of the mechanics of the design. These circuits serve a purpose within the totality of the human geometry. Their unique combinations ensure and enable the flow of life force within the streams, which are pathways that connect awareness fields of conceptual, survival, and emotional fields. There are 3 circuits connecting 64 gates, 9 centers, and creating 32 channels. These circuits are divided into the individual, knowing, centering, and integration circuit, the tribal, defense, ego, and this collective, sensing, abstract, and logical understanding. They need a pressure center emanating either from the root or the crown centers to pulsate and fuel the energy that moves in different directions, which in turn is focused on finding a way to express itself in awareness, from pressure to fuel to potential, possibility, and expression. The tribal cares for the sustenance of the clan, from conception, needs, mating, legacy, survival, organization, and prosperity. The tribal juice of caring is maintained via education for the sake of the longevity of the species. Nurturing is not just about food, but also about the essential energy to establish intelligence in a human being. The 27th gate in the sacral center, vitality, connects to the 50th gate in the spleen center, where the south node of the moon is at the moment. Together they create the tribal channel. The 50th gate, located in the spleen, the immune system, lymph nodes, operates 3 streams: instinct, smell, intuition, acoustic, and judgment, taste, visual taste. This is the relationship between intelligence and fear, which will provide the potential capacity to confront whether one is able and will survive or not. My Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury are in the 27th gate, one of the 6 rogue gates in human design, which are very powerful archetypes. Individual circuits fire independence while sensing and abstract circuits run the tableau of infinite potentials. The logical understanding circuits are loops that need confirmation in the now, like zeros and ones in which syntax manages the rules one must follow to properly execute a command. Incorrect use of syntax means a program can't run the intended sequence that makes sense. Abstract collective circuits operate from a nonlinear space and fill in the void with information that has been observed with time and that comes useful when needed, when there is a prompt. Individuality makes one's design unique, or so we believe, in free choice as we gather in small hierarchy clans and decipher the role we can play in the whole matrix. Collectivity leads to homogenization. It is confusing, especially when the individual thinks that they need to follow a shepherd. The senses and instincts are tools. The collective circuit is a great funnel for sharing with no expectations. If you wait for the approval, you're still in the matrix. Discipline is needed. To follow false gurus, groups without questioning only conduces to more slavery. One must become the disciple of truth, and the truth is everything but absolute. Social media has been for the last 15 years slowly constructing a reality that we need to be plugged in, or else we suffer from fear of missing out, FOMO. Note, I will expand on this subject related to cognition and the architecture of our geometry in the near future. There's an image that I created. It says, sound is breath, nepha spiritus. Resonance is alignment, sound is breath, the accordion effect. The bellows distance allows the time in between the frequencies to shift and tune in or out of different vibrational spaces. The energy or chi may rise or descend according to the rhythm and pattern that is finding its way. Being mindful of its operation can regulate body functions until it finds alignment. And I'm going to put a couple of pictures of me in 2013. You'll see how much I have changed. Blah, blah. Then I made a big collage of some images that I gathered from Instagram. It's my feed, but it's like many pictures. Then I leave a very good video of the future of decentralized social media, also known as Nostr. I leave my handle if you want to go and check it out. That's it. It was long. Oh my God, 22 minutes. Anyway, I'm still writing the AI article, but I think that the energy of this week was important for me to communicate, because there's going to be a big shift. You probably are feeling it already. Nothing to fear about. Just go back to you. Find out who you are. There's nothing more beautiful than just reconnecting to your own alignment, your own geometry. That's what it is. So have a good one. Big hug. Take good care. See you in non-social media. I'm going to be less and less connected there. I can be reached different other ways. If you need me, you know how to find me. Take care. Bye.